All right, Miss Dee Dee, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I have a few housekeeping items before we start. If you are on a call from a phone, you may have to mute yourself. I have gone through and muted the rest of us so that we have some clear audio so that we can hear Dee Dee's presentation well. But if you're on a phone, you may have to mute yourself. So just double check for us that you are muted. And then if you have any questions throughout the chat, anything you want to ask Dee Dee, any background, hey, what was that link again? Throw it into the chat. I'll be monitoring, trying to answer those questions for you. Otherwise, I think we're ready to introduce Dee Dee. I hope you know that Dee Dee is one of only 19 in the world. She is our PBS Digital All-Star. She's representing our state of Kentucky as, again, one of only 19. And she is absolutely fabulous. She's going to teach us today about doing some screencasting and how to do that. And I'm going to turn it over to her and she'll be able to share her screen with us. And we're ready for you, Miss Dee Dee.
So I hope that you all have seen in the chat there is a Chrome extension that I would like for you to install. Just a couple of disclaimers. To receive the most benefit from this, you do need to be using Chrome. I am going to walk you through step by step how to install the extension, but if you will go ahead and click on it and at least get to that page, that would be very helpful. I know sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to get going, but again, there's a link to install the Screencastify Chrome extension. You also need to be using Chrome as far as your browser, not Safari, not Firefox. Use Chrome, please. That's just gonna, that's where the extension installs, is on Chrome. To log in, you should be able to log in using your Google credentials. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see. Once you click on the link in the chat, it will take you to that Chrome extension, and I'll walk you through how to install that. And again, if you have questions, please, by all means, just throw those in the chat. I'm very familiar with Screencastify, and I'm sure that we have a wide range of ability levels in this training. So I'm sure some of you probably have used it. Some of you maybe have never heard of it. So I'll try to hit all areas, and hopefully I can share something with you that you can take away. Real quick, I feel like Screencastify is your must-have tool for the situation that we're in right now as far as virtual learning. What it does, it records your screen, and there's a free version of Screencastify and there's a paid version of Screencastify. The free version, you have all of the bells and whistles. With the paid version, with the exception of you can only record 5 minutes of video. But with that being said, the paid version, you can find it. I think there is a coupon code out right now where you can. It's only $29 a year, and with that, you have unlimited video. Now, I've talked to a couple of different districts, and you can actually purchase a district license. And just from some trainings that I have given, you can that district license, of course, and it's not too expensive. It's really reasonable as far as covering the entire district. But after these two districts saw this presentation, they bought the district license. So I think it's very beneficial. But again, it is a paid service, but for what you pay, the $29, I feel like that you will benefit from it. So with that being, just want to give that disclaimer. Oh, I see. So some of you all are saying your district has bought it for you. My district just bought it. Okay, yay. Excellent, excellent. That's great. That's good to know. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I am hoping you all can see what I have Amy, can you let me know that they can see the Chrome store?
Yes, ma'am, you're there.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I just want to double check. So, of course, my tab over here, since I already have Screencastify installed, it will say remove from Chrome. So yours should say install or click to install. Once you click that, you're going to see an icon that pops up on your toolbar. So your toolbar from an icon pops up. It's exactly like this. It is a sideways melon colored arrow that has a camera inside. So this is how you activate Screencastify. Now, if you're like me and you have several extensions in Chrome, and maybe it's hiding up there somewhere, there's a little puzzle piece over to the right-hand side that will show all of your extensions. So if you click that puzzle piece, it will pull up all of the extensions you have on Chrome, and then you may be able to just scroll down and find it. But again, it is the melon colored arrow pointing to the right with a camera inside. So I want to do a quick check to see if we are, how we're doing, if there's any having issues or needs help. I'm going to just click over to the chat real quick. Yes, you can purchase this yourself. Okay, so how are we doing as far as install? We good with installing? Okay, yay. So the link to install is in the chat. Throw it out there if need be. Oh, thanks, Amy. Amy got my back. Okay, yay, yay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and demo once. And so if you don't have it installed yet, again, the link is in the chat, and we can maybe even send that out later if need be. So now I'm just going to go to a Google slide that I may use in a lesson. And again, with Screencastify, you have different options. So you can record your desktop, you can record a browser tab, or you can even just use the webcam to record yourself. So again, let me just let me pull up a lesson, and you can see how it works exactly. Again, I'm just going to pull up a Google slide that I have that I pre-created that I might use if I were to teach virtually. Okay, so here, this is a lesson. And let's just say that I want to record myself presenting this lesson. I'm going to go up to my extension, and I'm going to click the extension. And sometimes it takes a few seconds to load. So if you'll just give it just a minute, you'll see kind of like a little spinny circle that loads. And as you can see, mine is taking a minute as well. So when we are in a virtual call, of course, your bandwidth may lag a little bit. But be patient. I promise it will pop up. Okay, so this is it. This is how you record your screen. Again, you have three options. You have where you can record your desktop, and just let me explain exactly what the difference in these three are, because it is really important. The desktop, when you're recording your desktop, that allows you to actually toggle between different windows. So let's say that you're wanting to show your students, maybe you want them to see an article on one tab, and then you want to flip back on your presentation on another tab. So if you use the desktop mode, that gives you that capability where you can flip between tabs. If you only select browser tab, then you're only recording that one particular browser. So I typically just do desktop because I like to flip between tabs when I'm demonstrating or teaching with kids. So one thing that you may notice whenever, if this is the first time you're using Screencastify, it may ask you to allow your microphone and allow your camera. So be sure that you do that. And it also may ask you to sign in on the extension. So be sure that you do that as well. The webcam option is that will only record you. So that's the reason why I said you needed to be on a laptop, a desktop, and the desktop would have to have a webcam enabled, or a Chromebook, because with the webcam option, it only records you. So let me just give you an example of how you could use that in class. So my husband teaches 7th grade math. And what he does is he takes his Chromebook and sets it on a desk and uses the webcam option, and he will actually teach the lesson. He goes in a little bit before school starts. He'll teach the lesson and record himself and then post that to Google Classroom. So in a way, he has created a flipped classroom environment. Once that's pushed out to Google Classroom, the students will come in the morning, during the class period or whatever. They watch his presentation, they watch him teaching, and then at that point, he is taking attendance, he is taking up homework, he's doing some things that saves him tons of time. Then he becomes a facilitator in his classroom, and he goes around, and at that time he can help. So it allows for differentiation, because those students that get it from his demonstration, they can move on. So it kind of allows for self-paced learning with students. So they move on, and then the students that maybe need a little extra help, he can small group them and give them RTI immediately. And he's saving about 15 or 20 minutes of class time, because he has already pre-recorded the direct instruction for the kids. So that's how you could use the webcam only option, where you could just record yourself like up against the whiteboard teaching a lesson. Okay, so some more options, and actually let me stop for just a minute and see if there are any questions, because I've kind of gone over quite a bit of information. So let me just minimize and stop, and let's see. Okay. All right, does anyone have any questions while I am, how are we doing?
Dee Dee, we only have one question so far in this section, and it is from Timothy, and he wants to know if they need to enable the drawing tools.
Yes, I will show you how to do, that's the next step. I'm going to show you how to use the drawing tools, and if you want to enable that, yes, you can. There will be a little glitch, but I'll explain it here in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to move on if we're all ready to go. That's excellent that you don't have any questions. Great. Okay, so from here, let me go ahead and pull this up again. It's just really, really, oops, sorry. Oh, sorry, clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. Okay, so from here, it's just really, really important that you understand the difference in these three. And most likely you're going to use either the desktop to record your desktop, or the webcam only. Okay, so on show more options, you have, let me flip back over to desktop. On show more options, you have a countdown. So if you're new to Screencastify, you can actually change this. Whenever I first started recording myself, it was a little intimidating. So I would always pop this up to 10 seconds. And what that does is it just gives you 10 seconds before it starts recording versus 5 or 3. I would have to kind of psych myself up a little bit to be ready to record. So of course, that's going to be up to you. If you like 3 seconds, if it only takes you 3 seconds to get ready to record yourself, great. But you have 3, 5, and 10 as far as your options to record. And again, the show drawing tools, if you turn that on, anytime you are in a web page, you will have the option of show drawing tools. Now, sometimes, like if I were to open a new tab and I'm just in Google, and I try to record from Google, let me show you where you may get an error. Okay, so here it says drawing tools are unavailable on this tab. It's because Google is a search engine, and there's really not a reason why you would want to draw on this. So just realize that you have to be in an actual browser tab, like on Google Slides or on like a web page, in order for that drawing tools to pop up. I just wanted to save you a little headache in case you happen to see that option. Just make sure that you are in an actual web page. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to do a little demonstration of how I would record myself with a lesson. Okay, so I'm just going to click record. I have a 5-second countdown. It's going to ask me what I want to share, and this means with my recording. So I actually have to click. So notice this share is grayed out. I actually have to click the window that I want to record, and then click share. And at that point, I will see my countdown. There's my countdown. Hello, this is Miss Webb. We are going to be learning about how the Earth's surface changes rapidly. So this is a hyperdoc we will be using today. If you will, I want you to go to slide 2 and click on the student note page to get a copy so that you can begin learning about rapid changes to the Earth and begin taking your notes. So now you have a couple of options. At the bottom is a stop share button. You can also click up at the top on the extension again and hit pause, and it's going to take me a minute, sorry. There's a pause button. You can throw it away, you can redo, or you can hit stop. So if you're finished, you can just hit stop, and it will open up, it being your recording, will open up in a new browser tab to give you some other options as far as some things you can do. Now notice up here in the top right hand corner it says Google Drive, and it says saving to drive. So before you can do some of the cool features, it actually has to finish saving to your Google Drive first. Then you have some options on what you can do with it as far as sharing. So I'm just going to give it just a second to save to Google Drive, but I'll go over with you some of the options that you have. So first of all, the video is actually playing right now. I'm just going to hit stop. It auto plays whenever it opens up in that new browser tab. It also mutes, it's muted automatically. So keep that in mind whenever you do your first recording. I've had some teachers that have said, oh, my sound isn't working, but just click up here in the top left-hand corner to unmute, and you'll be able to hear your recording. Also, this is just something that I've learned, again, a best practices. I would record all these different videos, and I'm notorious for recording tutorials for just to help teachers to know how to do some different things. And I would forget to change the title. And because I would forget to change the title, I would have all these untitled videos in my Google Drive. So the first thing you want to do when this opens up is to change that title so you don't have that issue that I had. So I'm just going to call this demo of rapid changes. Just something that you know that's going to help you to remember what you've recorded. Okay, so now the video has loaded to my drive, and again, this does this automatically. So to give you a little background as far as the tech side of this, I'm a tech integration specialist with Grayson County Schools. So one of the things that we do is we vet different programs or different extensions that are allowed to be used in the district. And we have actually gone through the privacy policy with Screencastify, and my CIO in my district, he is very protective of our students, and he doesn't allow just anything to be out there. But Screencastify is approved for teacher use and it's approved for student use. And one of the reasons for that is because it saves to Google Drive and it doesn't save out in on the Screencastify's database somewhere out in La La Land internet world. Okay, your videos are secured in your Google Drive. So that's just a peace of mind for us as a district, knowing that those videos are not out there on someone else's server that can be hacked. They're in Google Drive. Okay, with that being said, now you have some options. Well, first of all, in this screen, you can actually clip your video. And one thing I like to tell teachers is I'll say, if you start out and you flub up a little bit, don't worry about it. Just keep going, and not necessarily keep going, but just start over, and then you can trim off the front of your video, and you don't have to worry about it. You can just trim off the flub. And even at the end, sometimes I think teachers struggle to find that stop button or the pause button. So don't stress so much about that, because you can cut that off. If you flub up, or it takes you a few seconds to figure out how to stop or how to pause, then just know that you have that trim down at the bottom and you can trim that off. Okay, so how are we doing on questions? Are we good?
We did have a couple requests. If you would just very quickly walk back through your steps of where you started to record and the options that came up, just walk back through that process for us.
Okay, I can do that. So this is a lesson that I might teach virtually. Up at the top on Chrome is this is the Chrome extension Screencastify. I click that extension and it takes a second to load, so just give it just a second. You just click it one time. And the different options, so desktop means it's going to record your entire computer screen, meaning that you can toggle between tabs. So if I wanted to, for example, if I wanted to go to my Google Drive and record that, if I wanted, anywhere I toggle, it will record that. Okay. Oh my goodness. I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. So let me go back. If I click desktop, again, that records my entire desktop. Browser tab is only going to record the one tab that I'm in. So if I start toggling, if I start clicking other tabs, those other tabs will not be recorded. And then webcam is the camera on your Chromebook, laptop, whatever the case may be. And typically when you click this, you're going to see your own face. It's like the camera will be recording you. And this is where I gave the example of my husband that turns on his Chromebook. He stands in front of his whiteboard and he records himself delivering his lesson and then posts that to Google Classroom. So that's the difference. Does that help? I hope clear up that. And then of course you just click record to get started. And there are a few other options here, like you can change your countdown and then you can show some drawing tools. Okay, so how did that, I hope that helped. Okay, I'm going to flip back over and show you a few other things. And I apologize, I'm going to go back in a minute and show you how to use some of those drawing tools because I forgot to do that whenever I was doing my recording, but I'll show you that here in just a minute. So as far as sharing, here are the options you have for sharing. The first thing you can do is just copy your link from Google Drive. So if you click that, it's going to copy the link to your clipboard. And now wherever you go, if you wanted to go to Google Classroom and paste that, if you wanted to go to open an email and send it, you could do that. That copies your link. Some other things you can do are sharing it immediately to Google Classroom. So since again you have logged in with your Google account, it syncs up with your Google Classroom, and that was the reason why I said, once you install it, make sure you log in with Google. Anytime you have that option, try to do that, because many times different apps and programs will sync up with your Google Classroom, and it makes it easy as far as sending things to Classroom. So I'm going to click Share to Classroom just so you see how that works. And now my different classrooms will pop up, so I can just choose a classroom that I want to post that to. I'm just going to pick my 5th grade social studies class, and I'm going to create an assignment with that classroom or with that video and click go. So from here, the title of my video will be the title of the assignment. I can put in my instructions and the students can see the file. So this can just be my introduction to this lesson. Also, remember over to the side in Google Classroom, you can choose multiple classes that you can post this to. It doesn't have to be just the one class. So once you've made your recording, you can post to different classes. Or let's say that this is a differentiated instruction video. Maybe you have read a passage that was posted to Google Classroom to your regular ed students. You can choose which students you want this to go to. So maybe you only want it to go to 1 student or 2 students that need readers. You can do that, and there is anonymity with that. The other students do not see when you post things to individual students. And of course, then you would just click assign, and the students would get that assignment. So that's share to classroom. Publishing to YouTube. So if you have a G Suite account, you also have a YouTube channel. And I love this option for a couple different reasons. The main reason being with Google Slides, because with Google Slides, and I can give you an example. Google Slides, anytime you have a video from YouTube, it auto plays within Google Slides. So students don't have to click a link and go to YouTube and sign into YouTube to watch the video. They can actually just click and play the video within that Google slide, as you can see here. So if you decide to post your video to YouTube, you can embed that in a Google slide where students can play it right there without having to leave Google Slides. Another nice thing about publishing to YouTube is the tool Edpuzzle. How many of you have used or know Edpuzzle? And Amy, I'll let you monitor that if people know what Edpuzzle is and what I'm talking about.
Sure. Before we do that, I have a really quick question that sort of ties in. Someone asked, when you share these videos, what keeps a student from downloading that video and uploading it?
Okay, so there are options to as far as the privacy settings. Here, you can choose that. It's right underneath whenever it's shared to your Google Drive. So, of course, I'm with Grayson County, so everything usually defaults to unlisted, and what that means is that whoever has the link can only view it, okay? And as far as I know, and if someone on the chat wants to correct me, I would be fine with that. I do not think any student or anybody else can download any of your videos. I think that as far as privacy, the only thing they can do is view. But if someone wants to correct me on the chat, someone may know a little bit more than I do. But I feel like that is not an option. I don't think students can download. But if someone wants to again correct me or knows different, they can throw that on the chat. But anyway, so you can control the privacy. You can even make this only available to you if you want. Maybe you are recording yourself for like a master's class or something and you just want to see how you do. You could make that private to you. Of course, public is anyone can find it and view it. Unlisted is only whoever has the link. But then these two options here deal with your domain. So if I were to pick this one, public at Grayson County Schools, so anybody within my domain, anybody within my district would be able to see it. But this one is even more private. So they have to have a link and they have to be within my district in order to view the video with this one. So I don't know, I hope that cleared up. But I do not think students can download or edit these videos. But again, if someone wants to throw it on the chat, if they know any different, they may be able to clarify that, but I don't think that's possible.
You did have someone agree with you that they agree that they don't think that students can do that.
Okay,
And as
excellent.
far as Edpuzzle, we're about half and half. About half are familiar and about half have not heard of it.
Okay, so I just want to explain why that is important as far as Edpuzzle goes. So Edpuzzle is it's an online program, an online link, whatever you want to call it, and it's a database of different videos, but you can add questions, you can add notes, you can add voiceovers on videos, and also the questions that you add on videos are self-graded through Edpuzzle. It's awesome. So let's just say, and I just call this app smashing, and I'm sure you all have heard of app smashing before, where you use different apps and put those apps together to create some awesomeness for kids. Let's just say that I've recorded this lesson, I have published it to YouTube, and then I've used Edpuzzle to create questions about my own teaching. So that's another reason why I like the option to be able to publish to YouTube, because it gives you that capability to use your own lesson in Edpuzzle to edit and add questions. And again, I don't know if I said this, but I may have. Those questions, if you add those questions in Edpuzzle, it's self-grading. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion. It also syncs with Google Classroom. I always like to throw that out there if that's an option. Okay, so the next thing that you can do is send in an email. Now, I really like this option, and I think about, I know now we're having a lot of virtual back to school nights. So you could record yourself. You could do a walkthrough of either your school, you could do a walkthrough of your classroom, you could talk about your syllabus, you could talk about all different kinds of things. And then if you happen to have the email addresses of your parents, you could send that to the parents of the students in your class and give them a really nice virtual tour of the school or a virtual tour of your classroom and let them know a little bit about you. So I really like that option of being able to send in an email as well. Generate a QR code. I have seen this used. I don't think that it's used as much as it has been in the past, but whenever I was a librarian, we did this with Screencastify, and it was, again, another kind of like a back to school situation. The teachers would record themselves and tell a little bit about themselves. They would say, like how many years they'd been teaching, or where they graduated from college, a little bit about with their expectations. And then after they did that recording, they would generate a QR code and put it on the outside of their classroom. And so parents, whenever they would come around and they would meet the teacher, they could scan that QR code, because it's kind of crazy sometimes on back to school night. They could scan that QR code and learn just even a little bit more about the teacher. And I thought that was a really neat idea. Okay, and then get an embedded code. If you wanted to embed this in, say, a Google site, you could get the embed code and it would embed in a Google site as well. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and check questions. How are we doing? How's it going? How many of you all think that this is something that you would use in this next year at school?
Immediately the chat lit up with yes, 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 definitely loving it.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. And I'll be honest, this is it. I mean, this is what you need to know in order to make a video. I mean, it's really and truly that simple. And I know there are other screen recording options out there. I know there's Screencast-O-Matic. There's one called Camtasia that I'm familiar with. I think there's one called CamTwist maybe, but just in my opinion, I really like the privacy features as far as it shares it to Google Drive versus sharing out on some database out, on Screencastify's database or whatever. I love the features as far as sharing it to Google Classroom and having that ability to publish to YouTube. And you all can see, I mean, the Wi-Fi in where I am right now is not the greatest. I'm just going to be honest. And plus, you know, doing a virtual presentation, that kind of sucks up the bandwidth. But as you can see, it did a pretty good job as far as loading and sharing it to Google Drive. I mean, it didn't take very long at all. So if that is a concern, just know that my bandwidth, I think I have 6 megabytes is where I am right now. So don't stress so much about that. I think it works pretty well with even limited bandwidth internet. Okay, so with that being said, I'll go ahead and are there any more questions, Amy, by any chance? I hate
There
to.
is. We do have
Okay.
one. It's going to draw on your experience from the library. We have a couple of people who have trouble reading aloud and showing students the pictures in the book. Do you have any suggestions?
Hmm. Let me see. I mean, if there was someone to help, I think that would be great. Then that like I just think of like my daughter, she's 12 and she just happened to be in elementary school whenever I was a librarian. So she was kind of my go-to person whenever it came to doing recordings. And so I could imagine that if you had someone to help you, they could zoom in on those images while you're reading. So I don't know if that would be helpful or not. Um, she would always help me as far as like I didn't like to be on camera, and I'm still not one to be on camera, but uh, we would do procedures and we would record it using Screencastify. And I did my library procedures that way, but I did it where she was showing the procedures. So she showed, I would record her walking in the library and walking out of the library and where to put the library books and all of that, all of those things. And we made it kind of fun. You know, I did cue cards for her and some different things, but I think if you had someone to help you and maybe could zoom in on those pages, that may be helpful. And I think I saw a few librarians in the chat that's participating. So if they have some suggestions, that would be great too.
We
And
have had some great suggestions. We have one more question. Can you do a voiceover using Screencastify?
okay, yes, there is that ability. And I have used this, and that was actually I love it because the questions are going right into the next thing that I'm going to talk about. So, I love how has worked out. Okay, yes. If you look at the download option, there are more options here where it says downloads. I'm just going to click that. So you can actually download the video just instead of using it from Google Drive. Honestly, I don't know why you would do that. I don't know that I've ever used that option, but that is an option that's available. You can export it as an MP4, so like QuickTime or whatever program you use to watch video, you can export it and watch it. Then you have this. You can export audio only. So you kind of can do a voiceover. What you can do is just record your voice only, and then if you wanted to put that on something or use it on something, you could, if that makes sense. And then there's also this, you can export it as an animated GIF, and honestly I've never used that, so I'm not sure how it works, but if anyone has, then let me know. I think it'd be kind of cool. I always use my recordings for either tutorials or teaching a lesson or something like that, and I've just never explored that option, but it's there, so that's a neat little feature. Okay, so any other questions? Any other questions?
I think at this point we're good to move on.
Okay, excellent. So let me show you. There's also an editor feature as well. So if I click open in editor, this just gives me a little bit, a few more options as far as editing the video. And it may take a minute. Okay, so this is the editor. And this just allows you to do some things. So you can clip the video as far as cropping it down. You can crop the video. You can add some text to your video. And you can also, you can just select a clip. So if you wanted to clip it down, you could do that as well. So there are just a few things that you can do with Editor that you can't do in the other screen that you saw, where it just is saving the video. And you can even add other clips. So if maybe you did a recording and you stopped it and then you wanted to pick back up, so you could record, and then if you click here, that allows you to add another clip, and you can put all of those clips together. You just have to use Screencastify in order to record those other the other videos. It's not like you can just import any video. It has to be a Screencastify video. So that's Editor. And I do want to show you the pencil and some of the other tools that you can use. So let me go back to the beginning and go ahead, and I'm going to do another recording so you can see how the tools work. So I'm just going to click record, and I'll get my window that I share, click share. And in just a minute, I should get my countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now I'm recording, and I just want to point out the tools are down in the bottom left-hand corner. So I have, of course, the mouse tool. There's also a pen tool, and I love the pen tool. It's so neat. So one option you have, you can hide the mouse. So if you don't want the mouse to show, you can do that. But there's also a focus mouse, and that kind of, I call it the flashlight. I think it looks like a flashlight, so you can focus on certain things if you want. And then the pen, you can even pick different colors. So if you wanted to pick a color and you want to write on the screen, you can do that. And there's, of course, the erase option. It just wipes the screen clean. And also, if you want to enable the webcam, if I click this, a video of me will pop down in the corner, and it's not showing up right now for some reason. But if you enable webcam with Screencastify, a video of you will pop up in a little box down in the bottom corner. And I'm not sure why it's not showing up right now, but anyway, I promise it does. You can pause the recording, the mouse pointer, and with the mouse pointer you have where you can hide the cursor. You can do that focus mouse that will highlight different text. And also it will highlight clicks. So if you click on something, it will highlight that. And then your pen function, where you can choose different pen colors. There are the different pen colors. And of course, erase to clear the screen. And then you can enable the webcam, and I'm not sure why it's not working for me, but I promise it works. Okay, there's also a little hide tools if you wanted to hide the tools. And then to stop your video, remember you can go up here to the top, or you can stop sharing down at the bottom of your screen. You can pause, redo, trash, and it will load up and load to your Google Drive, and from that point you can share it out. Okay, how are we doing?
We are doing great.
Any other questions about anything? I love the pen or the tools. I think that's a game changer with Screencastify. Okay, so one thing I would like to do, I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for a minute. I think it's great if we collaborate as a group. I'm not sure how many people are on the presentation, but I would love for you all to throw out there how you would use Screencastify. And I want you to think of different situations. So remember, like in my district, students actually have access to Screencastify too. So how could a student use Screencastify in a virtual world that we're living in now? And how would you as a teacher be able to use Screencastify? So if you can just pop that out there in the chat, and I would love to hear some of those options.
All right, we've got lots of things coming in. We've got walking through intros to their class website. We've got sharing tutorials for navigating like Destiny or KYVL. We've got students sharing their knowledge.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Oh, PDs. I see that. Oh, the reading standards. Oh, sign language. Oh my goodness, that's a great one. See, I love this because I need ideas to take back to teachers as well. And I always tell my teachers, I say, I'm the tech person. You are the content people. So we get together and we make magic, but on your end, you all are, again, you have the experience with your content. So I love seeing all these oh, step by step on the FASVA. Oh my goodness, that's a great one. I love this. This is great. That's awesome. I think I saw a couple of questions. I think someone asked, what is the advantage of the free version over, or what's the advantage of the paid version over the free version? So the free version, you are limited to only 5-minute videos. You have an unlimited number of videos that you can record, but you can only record 5 minutes at a time. With the paid version, you're unlimited. So your video, like I actually recorded a day-long PD, and it was an 8-hour PD. So it was 8 hours long. So that's the difference. And again, $29 a year. This isn't a month, it's a year. Versus, and that's, again, you're limited to only 5 minutes with the free version. And the $29 gives you unlimited video, unlimited time. So that's really cool. Oh, recorders. So like for music. Yes, that's awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, I'm just going to read a couple of these. This is great. Missing information about the limits on the video. I think someone clarified that, I hope. The district license is no different. With the district license, it's still it's unlimited. But remember, the 5-minute is for the free version. Okay. Would anyone like to share something that maybe they have used Screencastify in the past? Has anyone used Screencastify in the past and maybe used like a creative way that you have used it, or used it with students? And I see a lot of I see a lot of ideas for using it as a teacher, but how do you think a student could use this? Oh, to present in your class? Okay, so someone's asking why I didn't get the drawing tools. If you are in just the Google search page and you tried to record, the drawing tools will not show up. You actually have to be in a web page, like you have to be on Google Slides or Google Sites or something like that. That may be why you did not get the drawing tools. Oh, teaching a routine for dance. I love all these ideas. Yes, love that you can send to an individual student. Yes, that's a great Google Classroom differentiation. Math teacher uses it when she's absent. Yes. Oh, and I have had teachers to actually do exactly what you were saying, Samantha Young, where the teachers would record the lesson. The sub would be in the classroom, but it's actually the teacher delivering the lesson, and the sub is there, of course, for monitoring and behavior. Yes. Okay, so Amy, I'm about ready to wrap up unless anyone else has. I love all of these ideas. This is great.